Hey everyone, and welcome to the Planet OSRS guide for Vardorvis. This is usually the part where I say, even though I'm doing this on mobile, PC players will find this useful as well. Now, while that is the case, I am going to spend a little bit of time at the start of the guide for my fellow mobile-only players, going over some settings that you can adjust to make life easier at Vardorvis, as well as improve your overall mobile experience. Next, for mobile players, I have a guide to mark everything how it looks in RuneLite. So what I mean by that is the axes are going to stay highlighted for you after they're thrown, as you can see here, followed by Vardorvis' head as well as the tendrils. Now this is going to make learning the fight a lot easier for you on mobile. After that, I have some things to say about gear and inventory, so we'll get into all of that. And then I'm going to break down the mechanics of the fight, what to look out for, what tiles to mark, all of that. I'm going to show an example kill, and as always, I'm going to wrap with some coaching tips and some ways that you can get better here a little bit quicker. This boss is well worth your time to grind. He drops a lot of really nice upgrades for your account, and he's a great money maker. The timestamps are going to be your best friend, so feel free to jump around as you need. And lastly, if you're here for the quest version of Vardorvis, he's going to be easier for you if you're doing the Desert Treasure 2. I'm trying to get the blood medallion, so he's going to be a little bit easier for you. This guide is going to help you there as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so I'm here with my lovely assistant. Now for mobile players, this fight has been something previously where it really can make you lose your head. But I have some settings and stuff that we can adjust to make sure that you don't fall to pieces. And I want to start with hotkeys. So it's just down here on the left, very simple. You tap to open, and then you can long tap here and hit customize. Now I have mine arranged how I like them, but it's real simple. It's just drag and drop. Drag and drop. And now I have them ordered up properly how I like them. I like to start with tap to drop. I like tile highlighting right there, NPC highlighting, spellbook, and then prayer. But you can see here, this really isn't doing a whole lot for us because it's still opening up on the right. And a little over a year ago, before this latest update to the mobile user interface, we had the option to have some things open on the left side as well. You actually still do. So if you come down here to settings, just simply tap left, tap all settings, then type left. If you come down here, hotkeys, open side panels on the left, check the box. Now, my spellbook, my prayers are on the left. Makes it real nice to switch between the menus. One thing to note about tagging, I have it turned on right here. That just gives me the option, if you long tap to open up the mini menu, to tag or tag all. If I turn it off, he still stays tagged. It's just the options are gone from the mini menu, so that's really cool. Speaking of the mini menu, that's our next topic here. You see this circle. You can edit the order of the mini menu. Now, one thing I want to note for that is if I have tagging turned on, and I want like tag all on top, right? Because I'm struggling to mark the tendrils and Vardorvis' head, and I think that it'll help me to be able to just go boom boom real quick from the menu like that. Keep in mind, with this setting, you have to do it for everything individually. So what I mean by that is, tag all is currently on top here for Vardorvis, but if I were to go outside and try to get into a fight with a strangled boar, an infected boar, and try to fight it, tag all, if I were to open up the mini menu, tag all is not going to be on top. You have to manually adjust it for everything. So that does kind of stink, but at the same time, if you do that for the tendrils, if you're having a hard time getting everything tagged, which we're going to go over next, this is a really good way to do it. It's right here, again, under settings. Just type mini menu, all one word. And as we scroll down through here, mini menu reordering, make sure that that's checked. you'll know that it's set up right because you'll have this ball in the top right of the mini menu. The only other real settings that I have configured on here that I just leave on is my source and destination tile. You don't have to have it on. It's kind of nice to see where you're clicking. And then, your true tile or your current tile, is what it's called on mobile, is, usually just one tile ahead from your character. But it's just in here if you just type tile. And that's all there is to it. So the next thing that we're going to go over is marking everything. How to get everything in this encounter to look how it looks in RuneLite. So for mobile players, that's what we're going to go over next. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go over marking everything here in the Vardorvis encounter. Now we're going to just start with tiles to mark. So I'm just going to turn on tile marking from my hotkeys. You want the middle one between the pillars. I'm just going to turn this off. And you want to go 2 tiles out. Right there. Now I'm going to just do all 4 sides because I think it'll be easier. You have to turn it off to change, that's the bad thing. And then I just go 2 tiles out. I'm going to come over here. You can mark Vardorvis too if you want to by just tagging him. Basically just going to make a circle. Arts and crafts in RuneScape. Okay, so that's the easiest part. Now, the first thing that we're going to go over here is marking the axes after they're thrown. That's probably going to be the easiest one here. And yeah, I mean, you can tag him if you want. It doesn't matter. You can tag him or leave him untagged. He's not the problem during the fight, so you don't have to have him tagged. Trust me, he's the least of your worries. So next, the axes after they're thrown. So we have a little bit of gear to change, so I'm going to bank, and then I'm going to show you the gear, and we'll go over that next. Alright, so I'm at the Grand Exchange here. I have everything that I need for the next part of this quest to get everything marked properly. So you're going to need your Draken's medallion, and then the Vire Noble outfit. So I would just go ahead and put that on now, and then we will go to Darkmire over here. And we need to go up to the Hallowed Sepulchre. That's right up over here. Alright, I'm just about there. As you can see, I'm driving up or walking up on it. Now when you go inside, there's an NPC, the Mysterious Stranger. Just go ahead and tag him. Tag or tag all, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to show you what that's actually going to do here in 1 second. Okay, so I'm kind of running along the path of Vardorvis here. You'll know that this was successful because you'll see like some random NPCs in the game that have their name above their head once you mark the Mysterious Stranger. I don't know why this works, but this is me along the ferry code to take the boat over to the Stranglewood. So that'll be one indicator that you did this right. And then once we get over to Vardorvis, now and you climb up into the instance, you'll know that you were successful because you'll see this random axis marked here. So then what this is going to do is, as he starts the fight, the axes are going to be marked after they're thrown. So once the tendrils start to throw them, they'll be highlighted, and their entire like damage area is highlighted. It's pretty nice. But to mark the tendrils and his head, you basically have to start the fight with him and mark them manually. So I'm going to go ahead and get geared up for that and show you how I did that. Alright, look at that, I'm geared. So this is what I'm bringing with me. Full oath plate. I have a Blood Fury and the Noxious Halberd, Ferocious Gloves, Primordial Boots. I have Berserker Ring for food, or for my inventory. I'm combo eating. A Construction Cape to get in, an emergency teleport out, a couple of prayer potions. Now, what we're going to want to do, and I know we haven't gone over the actual mechanics of the fight yet, but you could see it playing over in the intro of the guide. We want to mark the tendrils. We want to hit tag all on the tendrils and Vardorvis' head. So to do that, we're going to just fight him. All you have to do for this, remember, our goal is not necessarily to kill him or even draw the fight out. Our only goal here is marking those. And if you're having trouble, remember, you can go in here and rearrange the mini menu on the tendrils as they pop up. So all I'm going to do is turn on Protect from Melee and attack him. I'm going to run right back down here to this tile in between, and we're just going to chill. We're just waiting for the tendrils to pop up. Remember, so that one was one where they really weren't spawning on this side. They're going to be a little bit harder to mark. See, tag all. That's all you have to do. And remember, our goal here isn't necessarily to hit or to dodge or anything like that. We're going to take a little bit of damage to get that mini menu open. Remember, if you're having issues, you can always do this and then rearrange the order. So let's assume that you got the tendrils now. We just have to wait on Vardorvis' head. And it's the same thing with the head. This is usually around, see, there's the head, and then we just hit tag all. Remember, our goal here, we don't care if we're taking damage and stuff. We just want to last long enough to be able to tag it. And again, you're not always going to get it your first try. You have to, your timing does have to be right here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why you always have a teleport out. So like I was saying, you want to just bring up the mini menu and hit tag all. If you hit tag all on the tendrils, that will mark all of the tendrils. So if you are finding that it's difficult, you can always rearrange the mini menu. So tag all is on the top. And then anytime there's anything that is a large tendril, which would be the things that throw the axes, it doesn't matter where it is, tag all will be on top, so you can tap and then long tap a little bit faster. Same with Vardorvis' head. This might take you a couple of fights where you're just bringing in combo food and just trying to survive in order to mark it. It's well worth your time to do that, because if you don't get everything marked right, it can be a little bit harder to learn, and this just makes it a lot easier. So again, be patient with it, give it some time, but you will get it. It's all a matter of timing. I'm pretty sure to get the tendrils, it's right when because they come up and they start kind of inching back, and they kind of like really bow back right before they throw the axes. I'm pretty sure you want to be clicking tag all right when they arch back and they're about to throw. In Vardorvis' head, it was just a matter of feel. I'm pretty sure it's right as it comes up and shoots the cone-shaped projectile range attack. But again, our only goal here is to survive long enough to get it all tagged. So that's and then that's all there is to it. That's how you tag everything to make it look how it looks in RuneLite on mobile. Next, we'll go ahead and break down the fight and get into some gear and inventory strategies. Now that we have the setup out of the way for mobile players on how to mark everything and have everything extra visible, it's time to talk a little bit about gear and inventory. Now, I always say go with what you got. There's no sense in, waiting until you get something better, because what you have will probably work, and once you get the timing and everything down here, you're going to be just fine. And that's all true. I do still have some things that can help you, especially here and especially early on while you're learning. So I always go in with full oath plate, my blessing. I love the noxious halberd, ferocious gloves, primordial boots, and berserker ring. I typically bring the an amulet of torture, but I brought the blood fury just in there while I was demonstrating how to survive in here to mark on everything for mobile. And the blood fury is not a bad option here, especially when you're learning the fight. It's really not a bad upgrade. It's a negligible a fury. It's negligible from the amulet of torture, and the HP saving effect of the blood fury will really help you here. It can save you a little bit of time from clicking over back to your food, so that's a really good that's a nice thing to switch out with when you're learning. Same with the Ring of Suffering. The recoil effect can hit Vardorvis here, and as Vardorvis heals, that's a really nice little thing to switch out to, especially when you're learning to try to get his HP down and kind of work your way through the fight. So that's the gear. Those are just the few tips and pointers that I have for you as far as gear goes. Inventory, my teleport in, I use the Ring of Shadows. Claws, that's my spec weapon. Go with what you got as far as spec weapons. Super combat potion, emergency teleports out, a couple of prayer potions, and combo eating is going to be really, really nice here, particularly here because this is a fight that you can lower your HP. You can get yourself in trouble real quick. Combo food's going to work great. And then just switching back over here real quick as far as weapons. The Fang and the Defender work great here as well. You don't have to hold out for the halberd or anything like that. You can really mix and match here, and you will do okay once you really get the mechanics down. So that's everything that I have to say about gear and inventory, especially with those two caveats there as far as the Blood Fury and the Ring of Suffering. It will really help you learn the fight and kind of move through things a little bit quicker there. Next, we're going to go ahead and break down the mechanics of Vardorvis. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and break down the fight here. So the first thing that you want to do as you come in here is obviously combat potion up, piety, protect from melee, run out, attack him. Some players like to use their special attack energy off the bat. Others usually wait. It just depends, but the main thing is you're going to want to run back over here to this tile that you have marked in the corner between the two pillars, because that's actually going to negate the first special attack that Vardorvis has that we're going to talk about. He has a dashing attack while he's meleeing you and he's, on top of you hitting you. He's going to be right there. He'll dart back and forth over here like that really fast, and it'll cause some cracks to appear in the ground and some spikes to shoot up. But the spikes will be out here, and you'll be safe from the spike attack right over here against the wall. So you'll negate the whole attack. If you're hit by the spikes, they usually deal between 20 to 25 damage, and they heal Vardorvis for half of whatever the damage that they do to you is. So that can get really annoying real quick. And then the next attack is the axis. So the tendrils will shoot up with a couple of Vardorvis's axes. They shoot on a straight path from whatever way they go. So they can go from the top down, on the diagonals, or straight across. You basically just run out, to the marked tiles, and then wait for him to pass, and then just run back. At the start of the fight, he's going to only throw 2. At around 50% health, you have a chance for him to throw 3, and below 230 HP or his enraged phase, which we'll talk about in a second, it's always going to be 3. So like I say, you just negate it by running out and then running back. The next attack that he has is the head. So right around, once he's lost between 20 to 25% of his health, you'll start to see his head. The tendrils will shoot up his head out of the ground, and it shoots this green cone type attack at you. You just want to switch over to protect from ranged as the projectile hits you, and then right back to protect from melee. The next attack after the head is he has the strangled attack. So you'll see some of the tendrils wrap around your screen with a couple of spores in the middle. You simply click the spores real quick, and that gets rid of that attack. One thing that I will note about the strangled attack that he has, as he's starting to use that attack, you can hit him, like click on him, and you can get an extra attack off as he's like queuing up the strangled attack. So it gives you an extra hit in there. So those are all of his attacks. We have the spikes, we have the axes, we have the strangled, and then we have his head. So that's all of his attacks. They all appear at random. There's no set pattern to it. There's no rhyme or reason to where the axes are going to spawn, when the head's going to appear. You can be moved out here, dodging an axe, and see his head shoot up and have to switch over real quick and then run back. There's really no rhyme or reason to any of it. So that's the bad news. So that's all the bad news. That's all of his attacks. That's how he fights, and he's meleeing you the whole time. He will stop meleeing you when his head shoots up to give you, a chance. Things like that. So, that's all the bad news as far as the attacks go. But here's the good news for you. As the fight drags on, his defense will lower and his strength will go up. Now, the strength increase isn't really that big of a deal because we have protect from melee on, so we're negating most of that anyway. So his defense will go down and he gets weaker, easier to hit as the fight goes on. Now, we were talking, the one other thing there as far as the defense goes, because this is really important, he's immune to the Bandos Godsword special attack that lowers defense, and immune to the Dragon Warhammer spec. Because he has his own mechanic related to this, he's immune to any of those special attacks. So it's not going to lower his defense any more than it would just based off of his usual defense lowering mechanic. The lower his HP gets, the weaker his defense is, which is really nice. So at around 230 HP, we're going to talk about his enraged phase. At 230 HP, the axes are thrown 3 at a time, nonstop. So they spawn, the tendrils will bow back, they'll shoot them across, they reach their destination over, and then they despawn, and then immediately more tendrils are shooting up. You're going to see his head a little bit more often. You're going to see the spikes a little bit more often. If you notice a break in the action from the axes, that means he's pausing to use the strangled attack. In the strangled attack, once you pop everything, you have a second to come over real quick and combo eat before you have to be right back on your prayers. So that is something that will help as well. So that's basically it. That's all there is to the mechanics of the fight. I'm going to go ahead and show an example kill next, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Alright, so this is the first example kill that I have. This one is a little bit messier. I'm including this one just to show you that if you combo eat and do everything right, you still have a little bit of latitude here. And one other thing that I did forget to mention is the head, if it hits you, it takes a bunch of prayer points. And as you can see here, start of the fight, really chill. Not a whole lot going on. Protect from melee. Not a whole lot going on here. There we see the axes. You can see at the start of the fight, you might not even have to move. But you can really see, and there's Vardorvis' head. You can really see how easy and nice it is with everything marked. There's the strangle attack. And I didn't even pre-fire on that strangle attack where I got that extra hit in on him. We're already at half health. And see, half health, 3 axes, just under half health. Now we're getting close to enrage phase. And see, I moved wrong. I should have gone to the other side. I caught it too late, got hit by the axes, but that's okay. Combo eat real fast, right back on my prayers. And see, there was a lull in the action there because he was going to use the strength attack. You can always usually get by with if you prioritize the head, you can usually tank some max damage and be okay. And there we go, I'm specking with my claws. Got lucky with the strangle attack there. Specking him again. He has a couple HP left. And then dead. Okay, this is my second kill. This isn't perfect either, but it's a little bit better. So we get into it here. As you can see, again, start of the fight, super chill. Not a whole lot going on here. Couple of axes not even thrown my direction. Vardorvis' head on top of it. I have an axe that I have to dodge. Move that way because I can't go out to my other tile on the diagonal there. I was a little bit slow on that one because I was worried about the head, but that's okay. You always want to prioritize the head because if your prayers get turned off and you take that prayer damage, you get walloped by another axe or one of his healing attacks or the spike attack. You can really heal him up good inadvertently, and that's what you don't want to do. So if you have to pick one, always pick tanking the axes. And then I waited a second till that one axe passed and then went out and then back. Another head there. Getting close to enrage phase here. Strangle attack. See, I tapped on him right as he was attacking, so I got that extra hit. There's a head attack. No axes even thrown my direction here. That's always appreciated. Now I'm getting down into claw territory here. Now I continue to use the Blood Fury just because I enjoy it, but you don't have to. It's not absolutely needed. Claws. And see, I actually had time to switch back over to my Halberd, so I actually did 2 switches there at the end of the fight. And then the Halberd got him. So the claws really helped get him down, then the Halberd got him. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get into coaching you through the mechanics here. Before we do, I just wanted to take a moment and really thank you guys, the viewers and the subscribers, everyone who's left feedback, positive comments, criticisms, critiques. I really appreciate it all. Your comments saying that the guides have helped you. Just thank you all so much for the likes, the subscriptions, and the feedback. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me as I continue to do this. You know, I try to offset the low production value by giving you a little bit more than maybe some other guides have, or maybe a different perspective for some of this stuff, so that you still can get something out of it. So thank you all so much for your feedback. I really appreciate you. And next I want to shout out the other members, the admins, especially the admins of Planet OSRS. They really are an amazing group. You know, and that brings me to my next point here. If you're looking for a clan to join, maybe you want to guest first, it's just PLANET space OSRS in game. And our Discord link's down in the description. There really is a place for you. You know, I've said that here in a couple other guides. There's a place for you in the clan, whatever you're into. Skill of the week, shoots and ladders, bingo, group bossing, learning raids, group raids. We even have PKers who've gone up against, you know, some of the best in the world. So there's that. whatever you're into, there's a place for you, and we would love to have you. So with that, we'll go ahead now and get into the Vardorvis, some of the coaching tips and tricks here for Vardorvis. The first thing that I want to talk about is when to use your special attack on Vardorvis. So there's really two schools of thought on this. Some people like to run up and dump their spec energy right at the start of the fight to get his health down a little bit quicker. Other folks like to save it for enraged phase to kind of shorten the time when all that craziness is happening nonstop. There's really nobody's really correct either way or the other. It's just your own personal preference. Me personally, I like to wait till the end because it gets absolutely crazy, and I'm just worried. There's more of an opportunity to make a mistake at the end of the fight. So I want to dump my special attack there at the end. So I like to take the claws. The claws work really great with a Blood Fury. It definitely gets you some HP back. So that's why I like to spec him at the end. But it's totally fine if you want to do it at the start. If you want to Void Waker him at the start, by all means, there's really no bad answer. It's just, to me, I think the fight's so chill in the beginning, and there's not as much that you have to really look out for, that you can start to get him down and then just save it for the end. But that's my 2 cents on his special attacks. Or more, I guess, more to the point would be when to use your special attacks. The next thing that I want to cover with you is there are other guides for Vardorvis where they essentially mark a smaller circle around him, kind of out here, and it's a couple tiles away, and then you just kind of like move back and then move up and around as the axes come. To me, I'm not going to tell you one way or another. I'm just putting it out there that that method is there. I never really bothered to learn it like that because you had to account for every attack, and you still had to pay attention with where you're moving. It wasn't like you could just blindly move. Not that you can with, the in between the pillar method either, but that is something that's out there if you want to try to learn the fight that way. I'm not going to cover it because I'm not experienced enough with it, but I still did want to educate the viewers on that there are other methods out there. The next thing to keep in mind here, the speed of the attacks doesn't increase, only the frequency of the attacks. So what I mean by that is, as the fight goes on, the axes don't get thrown any faster. The head projectiles doesn't hurl at you any faster. The only thing that changes is how frequent those attacks come up. So once you get the timing down, and once you know what you're kind of looking for, where you're going to move, if one spawns up over here and is coming down at you, and one's down over here on you, and you got one on a diagonal over here, and you got to run over here. And as you get that timing down of when to go out and then when to go back, that speed stays the same. It's just the frequency of the attacks that increases. So you'll get the feel for it down, and then it's just a matter of just always anticipating it as the fight goes on. But the pace of the attacks is the same. They're not sped up or anything like that. And to that point, just remember the axes are thrown at the same speed, but some of them are traveling different distances. So, if you have one coming on a diagonal, I'm not going to hit him. But down over here, and you have one coming down over here, and one on you over here, you're going to come over here because this axe is coming over that way. You're going to want to stay here for a second. As this one comes down, you want to wait for it to pass before you run back over here. One other note on that, one other tip, make sure that your camera is about like this so you can see the entire arena, and you can see when axes spawn over here, and over there. Just always something, I always do it as I enter the instance, is just I stand on this tile, and before I start the kill, I make my camera zoomed so I can see this last red tile up there. As you're learning the fight, there may be times where you're going to have to tank certain things. If if you can, it's better to tank the axes and make sure that you get your prayers, your player flicked over to ranged and then back, so he doesn't turn off your prayers, because it's real easy to get caught between two axes, and you can go from full health to almost no health in the span of a couple of seconds from two axes after the head hits you. So if you see the head pop and the axes and it's coming super close and you're not convinced because you're still kind of learning and you're not comfortable moving and flicking real quick, and then when to move back and all that fun stuff, if you can only prioritize one, then it would be better to flick the prayer over to range to hit the projectile and then flick it back to melee, so then maybe you're only taking full damage from one axe instead of a couple, or maybe you're not taking full damage, but you are sitting on an axe because you're anticipating the head. If you absolutely have to, you can theoretically tank the axes. There's plenty of opportunity as well to flick over and combo eat really quick and then be back on your prayers. But when you're moving through your menus, you want to make sure that you're primarily on your prayers, and it's like boom, boom boom really quick, and then back over to your prayers. It needs to be, if you're off of your prayer book to sip a prayer potion or eat some food, it needs to be like quick, so you're back on your prayers, so you can be anticipating when that head comes up, because you don't want to get hit by the projectile, tank that prayer damage to your prayer points, and then be caught without protect from melee on for the spikes, because you can really heal Vardorvis pretty quickly if you get spiked without protect from melee on. And the axes, if you're tanking axe hits without that on, your HP will drop real quick. So those are just some of the coaching tips. Oh, the last one that I wanted to go over, you want to be, and this is probably just as true for PC players as well, but I noticed it on mobile. When he does his dash attack, if the axes are coming, he's darting back and forth, it's real easy to misclick on this tile or this tile when he's ricocheting back and forth like a rabid beast. Because you'll end up clicking on him, and then your character won't move, and then all of a sudden you're tanking axe hits. So just be mindful, moving, as you move, you can accidentally misclick and hit Vardorvis and accidentally tank an axe hit. So just some things to be aware of there. Those are all of my, coaching tips and walking you through the mechanics. Some other things that you can try here, you can come in here and just turn protect from melee on and just try to survive as long as you can and just practice that timing, because like we said earlier, the speed of the throws and everything doesn't change. Get comfortable with the fight, get comfortable with, how much time do I have from the time a tendril spawns on me to make it out here? How long do I have to wait as this axe comes down here, if there is one there? Get comfortable seeing the axes and then identifying where's safe for you to dart out to, how long you have to wait there before you get back. You can always come in here with some cheap food, maybe one prayer potion, and just turn protect from melee on with the sole focus of not necessarily killing him, but just getting the timing down. I say this in every guide, but it's so true and it's worth repeating. All of these Desert Treasure 2 bosses are about timing and getting the feel for the rhythm. Once you do that, you're completely good. So that is something to consider, and then just have an emergency teleport out, obviously, as you're doing those training kills and getting used to the timing. That is something that you can do. Just have an emergency teleport out once things start to get too hairy. But there's going to come a time where all of a sudden the fight's you're going to see what I'm saying about the speed doesn't change, it's only the frequency. And the fight, even during his enraged phase, is going to start to really slow down for you. And it's just going to kind of click, and you're going to get better. But this boss is worth grinding. He's really cool. It's a fun fight. So go out there and get him. Take care, everybody.